The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What's going on, y'all? What's happening? Yeah, I know you're saying it's Sunday. What y'all doing here? Well, nonetheless, it's game time audible. And we owed y'all one. You know what I'm saying? Had them bad power outages here in the city this week, so couldn't go on Wednesday. That's all right. We got you. You thought we was gonna let y'all ride out without having some good sports talk? Can't do you like that. So yeah, we here. We back. It's your boy E Buck the Nighthawk, Eric Buckner in the building, ready to talk that sports. But of course, we do it with the one and only, the man with the master plan, the sports guru himself. What up, you?
Hey, what's good, man? Definitely right about that, man. I had like a brownout around that time where the internet wasn't really working, so we wouldn't have had no show anyway, and half the house was on. So
Yep, but that being said, we are now fully operational and ready to go. Yeah, it's been a lot going on in sports, y'all. This ain't the dry season. It's some of everything. So keep in mind, tonight, I'm gonna be honest with you, some of that we just ain't gonna get to. But keep in mind also, we'll be back on Wednesday to do our regular show. So whatever we missed today, we'll try to add it on. But in the meanwhile, we're gonna do our best to squeeze in as much of it as possible. I have promised and swore to the sports guru that I'm gonna do my best to keep my answers short and concise so we can get as much in as possible, especially when it comes to the sports guru football section, because football is about to be in full effect. So we got to have some football discussion this evening.
that
So that
college
being
tip
said,
strong last night.
right. That being said, we about to go straight into it. No chaser. Here we go. First and foremost, let's talk about a little baseball. Now, I'm gonna give you the quick rundown here, and then you can touch on what you would like to. We know what's going on in the American League East. The Yankees still on top, but yeah, you'll go there. I know you'll go there.
They
Anyway,
won.
in the
They,
Central, hold
they got
on here. Let me lay it on out. Let me lay it on out. I know you want to jump on that right quick, but no, let me put down the whole hookup and then you go on in. All right, in the Central Division, you got the White Sox, you got the Twins, you got the Guardians, whatever their name is now. One of them gonna
already
win the Central. It don't matter. They basically making their first round entrance and exit. Okay, that's that. And then of course in the West, you got Houston dominating once again. But look out, check out the Mariners, baby. The Mariners is the hottest team in baseball right now. And they a secret because most of y'all don't stay up for the West Coast, so you don't really know. But since them doggone Tigers been playing them a little bit, I had a chance to watch them. And hey, don't sleep on them Mariners. I'm just saying. So that being said, that's the American League, National League. You got the Mets looking real, real good now that they got the DeGrom and Scherzer working. Although Scherzer did come out early last night with a little arm issue. Hopefully it's something minor, and we ain't got to be worried. That being said, Atlanta still on the come up. Both them teams making the playoffs. That's a gift. We got St. Louis and Milwaukee still going at it in the Central. You gotta like them Cardinals. They doing what they always do this time of year, Hugh. They anywhere in the building around about September. You can look for them to make their playoff appearance.
they
Then of
making a
course,
nice too.
right, and then of course in the West, the Dodgers look very dominant despite the injuries. They just got so many people on that roster. It don't seem to matter who get hurt and how long they hurt. They just keep rolling along, and basically San Diego starting to fade into the distance. Tatis, yeah, I think you put them in a bad place. That being said, that's my undergoing of what we got in the baseball. We got to hear what Hugh has to say. What's going on, Hugh? Go for
Big
it.
ups to Julio Rodriguez deserved that contract he got. Like you said, man, they was playing Tigers, man, and anybody look good against the Tigers right now. But he had like a $310 million contract right now. It's a long term deal, and it can max out to 470 mil. So right now, if he could get that 470, he'd be the highest paid. But you know, somebody will pass that up, and I'm thinking Mr. Aaron Judge in the future. He hit his
I think
50.
it's a couple people actually. You can throw your boy Otani in that mix as well.
Definitely, most definitely. Because I don't think I've been hearing rumors that him and Trout might be leaving town, next season to try to help out and to help to rebuild that franchise, which they should have been in rebuild mode.
Well, see, Hugh, you got to know the rest of that story. Part of why that is the case is because they're not the only ones looking to leave town. The owner's looking to leave town as well. He's talking about putting the team on the market.
Yeah, and that I definitely hope go well for the person who definitely buy it because I want somebody to do right by that franchise because they had a lot of talent over there. Just nothing ever came out of it. And
See, the thing I don't like is that now that that's the plan, you done kind of straddle whoever is the next owner because remember, in these
yeah,
last two baseball drafts, they primarily drafted all pitchers. So I think they get to a point where as the minor leagues start to build up, you may have plenty of pitching capital, but you ain't gonna have no position players to replace the Trouts and Otani. So you putting somebody behind the eight ball right then and there.
yeah, and that'd definitely mess up that person. That'd be like setting them up for failure. Yeah, you got a point there, E. I'm definitely hoping things go well with that franchise, man, because I've been a big fan of Mike Trout and when Pujols was there, and just really want that place to succeed because the Dodgers has been the talk of the town, and you barely hear about them. But besides Otani right now, it ain't really too many people making that much noise to because I believe he won like 10 games and hit like over 30 home runs, something's never been done before, not even by the great Babe Ruth. So they need to pay that more attention and respect that man and put some respect on the Tiny's name because he still is up for MVP discussions right now, him and Aaron Judge. Like I said, he hit his 53rd today. Yankees end up pulling out that win. Thank God. But Albert Pujols, man, not only did he hit his 695th home run, but he passed Barry with 451 different pitchers. So that man just keep making history.
I
So
mean, I just am astonished by what he is accomplishing at the ripe old age of 42. Keep in mind, there's another person, a senior sports person we're gonna talk about a little bit later in the show. But some people they just have this thing, and Albert is one of them. And it's like, how do you at that point get to say 498 or 698 and say, yeah, I'm done? You get anywhere in the vicinity of that, you gotta think that he's gonna be back for one more year.
I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he hit that 700 this year, though, E. Because when he hit that 695th home run, he hit it on his last ever at bat, and it was a pinch hit in Chicago. I thought they wasn't gonna pitch to him. E and the dude pitched to him. My eyes just lit up. I said, "Damn, he pitched to him." So when he pitched it, man, it got belted. He hit a far home run too, man. And I was like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I think they respect and they know that number. But a lot of people was fearing away from Barry Bonds and the A-Rods and the guards when they were getting close to those type of numbers, man. And they would even walk those guys. So the pitch for him definitely surprised me today. But it was so much good stuff going on in sports today, man. And it was just cool to be a sports fan today on this Sunday to see all that stuff going on. And we're going to talk about some more of the stuff in the action that went on too shortly if you're ready to take this commercial break, E, because I'm done with baseball, brother.
All right, and so am I. That being said, I pretty much say that whoever is in the playoff race right now is probably the one that's actually going to make it to the playoffs. The only exception I would say is in the Central, where that could switch up depending on who's in the final couple series of the season. But pretty much now, however the playoff race look, I think that's what we got going for
We're
baseball.
gonna be the guinea pig team regardless, like the one and done. They just gonna make an example out to Central, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I can't wait because, like you said, playoffs is a whole different atmosphere, man. I've just seen so many wild card teams win in the NFL, the MLB, any type of sports,
Mhm.
man.
And
The team,
I must admit, I really like the fact that this year, as opposed to doing that, okay, this one is for all the marbles, one and done game. They scratched that and they're doing a best 2 out of 3. I think that's a better way to do it as far as baseball goes.
yeah, because you can have a rough day, man. And just like with the WNBA, I was glad that they stopped that as well because you can have like one of your rough days, man. Because remember, at the beginning of the series, we wouldn't have had the Aces because the Aces lost the first game. And it was like I think
You
both
wouldn't have had the Sky either.
yeah, and the Sky lost. Yeah, both
But
teams lost.
that being said, you see, I actually got Hugh, Hugh D. Lee, ready to talk WNBA and talk it well. But before we do that, we're going to hit a quick commercial message. We got somebody checking in. Road is in the building. Shout out to Road the Stardom.
Oh, what's up?
Got to give you your just due, Road. Keep in mind, Road is a broadcaster, podcaster in her own right. So please check out our buddy Road when you get a chance. That
Bro, how
being
you
said, Road, are you still on that cruise? Last reported, Road was on a cruise ship, getting her cruise on while she was checking people out. You still
cruising?
cruising, Road? Because
That's
that's
what
all. That I'm telling y'all, this is an international podcast, people. Y'all ain't know about us. Anyway, that being said, good people, we're gonna take this quick commercial break. When we come back, we talking WNBA and NBA on that show we call Gametime Audible. Again, I'm your boy E-Buck, Eric Buckner in the building with that dude there, Hugh Lee. We'll be back after we talk about this guy here. They call him D4.
Come on now. Okay, black on. Get into it. Black on. Look at that David Ford right there. That's his thing. Black on. He don't know Tom. Look at that David Ford. That's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
All right, y'all, we are back. Game Time Audible. Your boy E-Buck and Hugh, the sports guru, in the building. Ready to talk some more sports with you. Shout out again to Road to Stardom. She said she's home now from the cruise. Right on, right on. I needed one more day. Yeah, it's always like that, ain't it, Road?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Okay, that being said, let's get into it. Here we are in the second round of the WNBA playoffs. What has been some of your observations?
Damn, it's been good, man. It's better than last year, actually. I know you probably like hear you crazy. I don't know, man. This year I think it's a little better, man, because this has been a little bit more intensified with the fact they don't have the one and dones. We was making fun of your girl, man. That's one good thing we do. I've been watching the games with you, but I know you've been trying to grind how we laugh at some of the women, man, how we made fun of Chelsea Gray, man. That's my homegirl, though. I love her. She got game. Like I told you, man, to me, she the female Chris Paul, but a little bit more moxie. But she definitely looked like Macy Gray, though, man. It was that man. They're going to go as far as Chelsea take them. And as far as that concerned too, man, that whole team been balling, man. But it's been good too, because not only they've been balling, but Seattle has been just as good, man. None of these teams backing down right now. And that's what I'm liking seeing right now, because they've been both on top of their game. The Aces and Storm played. Man, they did, bro. That was a good ass game today, because I was
That has
telling you,
definitely been a good series. Keep in mind, if you had a chance to watch it live, I of course got the WNBA app. I strongly suggest you get that. If you are going to be a fan of the WNBA, it covers pretty much every and all. Pretty much like that NFL Plus app that we'll talk about once we get to that point in the show. But that being said, I definitely I'm looking forward to watching that. Uh, this is the matchup, I believe. Whoever wins this series between the Aces and the Storm, I believe will be your next WNBA champion.
you
That
see the
being
game?
said, yeah, huh?
You see the game today?
No, like I said, I still gotta watch that. You watched it live. I got it. I got the app,
Damn,
so I'll be able to watch the game later on.
it was so intense, man. You didn't know who was gonna win at the end of regulation. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But yeah, that game went
That's
into
all you
overtime.
said. Keep in mind when we talk about Chelsea Gray, she is basically the Aces Draymond Green. I feel she is their motor. Like you said, as she goes, the team goes. So definitely, in order to win that series, that's gonna call for a big effort on her part. You definitely gonna need your girl Asia to keep up with Stewie, because Brianna Stewart, who was the WNBA MVP this season, they both are showing no signs of weakness right now. That is definitely a great matchup between the two of them.
Game two, they did her dirty. Nobody showed up in game two. She was the only person who showed up really game two. Nobody did nothing, and she kept them in the game. But it was like it was too much of all the Aces' efforts versus just her trying to do it on her own, man. And
And keep
yeah,
in mind, she's been able to do that since her high school days. You know, she went to
mhm.
UConn with the plan, I'm winning 4 national championships. And based upon her excellent play, they did just that. So I feel like whatever she puts her mind to, she could do it. So if anybody can upset the Aces this year, it is her and the Storm. Because keep in
Yeah,
mind, even though we got an older Sue Bird, it's one more good game left in Sue Bird. And we will definitely see that either in game 3 or 4 for sure.
yeah, man, it's been very intense over there, man. But then at the same time, too, we got to look at the sky, and we got to look at how they've been doing too, man. I've been surprised at how well. I shouldn't say I've been surprised, but even in the losing effort, them girls went fit. Candace Parker went 15-5-5 in the game one. Um,
Yeah,
how,
basically the Liberty
how
they
did the
did
Liberty
better this
do?
year, bro. Remember last year the Liberty finished with the worst record in the league. This year they actually made it to the playoffs, so they are improved. And we do got some company. We should be chiming in shortly. I see you though, bro. But that being said, I do believe that the Sky will probably go ahead and beat the Sun. I think they're a little bit better because they have more of a stronger team in terms of starters, bench, overall game plan. I think they just that step above where Connecticut Sun are. But that being said, I don't think they're gonna have enough firepower to beat either the Storm or the Aces. And that being said, there he is. What up, though, Brad? What's happening? Thanks for checking in. You right on time. So that being said, that's our WNBA update. We will keep you posted on what's going on. Now we're gonna talk a little NBA, and I'm glad Pride is here because you know the big story of the week, Hugh. The trade that I was stunned by. Now we have been talking for weeks that Donovan Mitchell was gonna be leaving Utah. You could not keep him there after you didn't basically gutted the team and took away his favorite coach and what have you.
Yeah.
So, for weeks we've been talking about, it's just a question of when the Knicks and Utah make that deal happen. But boy, were we wrong. What happened, you?
Damn, I think because you already know what happened. We talked about that, and we didn't talk about it on the show really, which I'm glad, because that deal that they was trying to give wasn't that good. And I got a family of meme guys, man, and we kind of made fun of them, man. If y'all want, I could put the meme out there, but we definitely made a fool out of Stephen A. because he said that he'll be on the team before the summer's over with. And not only did he not go there, but the package they gave was kind of weak, man. It's like, yeah, you was gonna give them three unprotected draft picks, and you was gonna get what's that, Obi Toppin and Evan Fournier. To me, that definitely wouldn't have been enough, man. I'd have been like, you got to be out your damn mind. But Donovan Mitchell ended up going over to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I kind of figure what hurt me the most though is when all this happened is how well Colin Sexton played last year. But when he wasn't on the floor, they still looked good, probably even better without him. And I said, damn, he might be gone, man, because you know this was like his last year of his contract. So with the Donovan Mitchell trade to the Cavaliers, the Jazz received three unprotected first round picks. Laurie, what's his name? Markkanen.
A big man with some good outside perimeter skills.
Ochaya Agbaje. Oh man,
I'm not even going there.
Dude. Okay, thank you. Look, they got Colin Sexton too. So
they threw him in to make the salaries fit. That's all that was. But I agree with you, Pride. Smurf Self freaking Rollins. Danny Ainge is the freaking man, yo. Bottom line is Danny was like, you know what, New York, y'all playing games. Screw you. Y'all think I won't trade you somebody else? Watch this here. And Danny made out his way.
They're not only just decent players, they're people who can make a foundation now. They lost their big man. You know, I don't really give a damn about no Rudy Gobert. Never have. But now they got Laurie Markkanen. Then I don't know that one African guy name. I ain't gonna try to say it again. Y'all ain't gonna make fun of me.
He's a throw in, Hugh. That he doesn't matter. I mean, he's right in Utah because Utah will basically play what they have available. I don't see why they would.
They got two people after they lost two people. I mean, one went early to the Timberwolves, and now Mitchell gone. And to get Markkanen and to get Colin Sexton, who's an exceptional guy, and then you get three more draft picks. I forgot how many draft picks Utah got now, man. Utah got so many draft.
Well, keep in mind, you know Danny Ainge not done. He's definitely not done. And you know the rumor mill's been saying, okay, it's a possibility that now he may be looking to obtain the Lakers' bad juju. In other words, trade for Westbrook and a couple of more picks with them, and basically give them Clarkston and I forget a couple of other names that was in the mix, but pretty much anybody that's of worth left in Utah. They talking about the Lakers.
I know Bogdanovic was one of the names, and it was Clarkson. And I forgot the other person in there, but that was three big stars, though. It wasn't no pushover.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, it's a scenario where basically Lakers will have them play this year. You know, they already got the point guard situation situated with Pat Bev and I believe they still got Avery Bradley. I want to say they do.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to figure out what happened to Avery Bradley. Now to think of it, because I thought he played really good when he.
Either they have it or he might still be. I don't know. Pryor will probably know better than either one of us on that one. But all that being said, basically Utah is planning for the future, and I think Danny has definitely sold ownership on. Okay, look, just let me gut this thing the way I do it, and I'm gonna set us up to be just like I had it in Boston. And
you know, man,
right there.
You know, Daddy got that magic too. We see what Daddy did, man. You know, I felt like the Celtics should have won 2 championships out of that, even though Kevin Garnett was older, KG was older, and you know, you got Paul Pierce at the end of his career, and you still had an exceptional sharpshooter. And my boy too, man, Jesus Shuttlesworth. That's what I call Ray Allen. But that was man, and those were my boys. But the lost person in that party, he's a little older. He's a veteran, but I feel like if he goes to the Lakers, they're definitely going to get rid of Westbrook, and that'll be a hell of a pickup because I don't think they'll need to have him do that much. But to have Mike Conley over there too with his veteran leadership,
and that definitely sets them up at point guard at that point. So I definitely like that look for them if they can pull it off. So like I said, ideally, as much as they're saying, yeah, we're going to work with Westbrook in the offense and all that, I really don't see that working out to where that works for the Lakers. I mean, granted, it's still just 1 year left on that contract, but it could be a very long year. And remember, LeBron is not getting any younger.
You're right about that, and I'm glad you mentioned that whole thing too. Because we almost forgot about Mike Conley as one of them pieces of the puzzle. That's where they're trying to get the old and bring in the new. Because not only
Well,
the
keep in mind,
college,
that's a key part of that deal because Mike Conley's contract damn near is close to what Westbrook is making. So you
oh,
definitely got to throw him in the mix just to make the contract even out.
damn,
All right,
damn near.
so to ask this question, Hugh, do you think Westbrook should retire because he keeps getting traded?
You know what? That's a good question. I think that he shouldn't, but at the same time, he got to learn that he's not the same Westbrook that he used to be, and he's gonna have to tone it down a little bit. Like with D Wade, D Wade was still a great player, but he wasn't that same player he was when LeBron went over there. When he went to Miami, and he said, "Okay, man, the show was yours. You know, do you, and we'll go as you go." And I think that he needs to swallow his pride because a lot of the stuff he did was ignorant. A lot of the shots selections, because he's never was a good shooter. But I just feel like he made a lot of poor decisions. And people always talking that crazy crap about let Russ go Russ. If Russ keep rushing the way he is, man, he gonna shoot himself out the NBA because I mean, damn, you've been in the league for too long to not have a decent perimeter jump shot and just
Here's
make bad
the thing,
decisions.
Hugh. I have an idea where Russ would be effective. The thing is, his ego won't allow him to do it. Remember, once upon a time, there was a young man, and his name was Carmelo Anthony. And it was said that, yeah, Carmelo won't fit back in the NBA because he just cannot deal with not being in the spotlight. He can't not be a starter. He cannot be a quality role player on the bench.
Correct.
Westbrook could swallow his pride and become that valuable six man on the Lakers squad. That would be a role he would fit in. Basically, get him in the game, get LeBron some much needed rest in his older age, have him do a solid 6 to 8 minutes of doing rest without the perimeter jumpers. Bottom line, go with taking it to the hole, throwing your assist on, because of course you're an excellent assist person, Mr. Triple Double. Grab some rebounds. If you could do that and do a solid 14, 6, and 6, getting about 20 to 28 minutes a game, I think that would work. And you can mess around and get another contract with the Lakers if you are willing to accept that role. Granted, you won't be making no $48 million, nor should you be. But I think you can make it work if you can get out your head that I got to be that guy, that I'm at home and I got to show everybody I'm at home. Beyond
Because
that, no, I can't see. I give him another good year or two in the league, and he's done.
yeah, because if he don't want to, get in line, then nobody gonna want to play with him, man. It got so bad for Carmelo when he was on the Rockets. They just sent him home and paid him, like, just stay your ass home. And you don't want that to be with him. And but I see that happening with Russ because Russ still feel like he can do the things he done in the past, which I don't think he have it in him anymore, unfortunately. But
Right. And that being said, Hugh, last I checked, Dwight Howard and Carmelo are still free agents right now. Do you see them being picked up somewhere?
man, that's dope, E, man. I just wanted to send you something, man, but my phone acting up, man. I put it on Pure to the Game for you to check it out, and I just want y'all opinion. You ran right into that one without me even saying anything, man. I'm gonna try to even show you the screenshot of it too, man, so you can see it. Can you see it good? I thought that was dope. That's dope, E. I seen that on the website and I thought that was interesting. It was saying, look, if the free agents make their own team, point guard would be Dennis Schroeder, Ray John Rondo, and Isaiah Thomas. Then you will have the shooting guard, Avery Bradley, Dennis Smith Jr. Then as a small forward, you will have Carmelo Anthony and Lance Stevenson, and with Lance Stevenson, and then power forward, you will have Montrezl Harrell and Blake Griffin. And for the centers to rotate like in the center position, you will have Dwight Howard and DeMarcus Cousins, and they'll all be like on a Seattle Supersonics team, which
Okay.
I was pissed off they got rid of the Seattle Supersonics because I love Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, but I thought that was a good thing to throw out there, man. And it was just good to talk about.
Shout out to Stacy Bounty in the building. What's going on, twin? What's happening? You just checking in to see what we got going here. But yeah, all that being said, Hugh, we didn't talk enough about almost everything but one thing. We got to give a quick little shout out once again and give her flowers right quick to this young lady right here.
Yes, sir.
That lady right there. Your thoughts on what you saw in the U.S. Open this week with Miss Serena Williams?
Man, she fought to the end, E, man. You know, to win the first round and then to go to that round and fight like she did, because I thought it was going to be like she was going to lose them 2 rounds. But when she caught up and she pulled that second round off, I said, man, we got a game going on. But it's like she gave it her all, but she's to the point where she don't have nothing to prove. 23 Grand Slams.
23
that lady don't have nothing to prove.
singles
She could
titles, 14 doubles titles, 3 gold medals, over $100 million in prize money. No, she has nothing left to prove to anybody. Maybe just herself. But that being said, I saw glimpses of what Serena was. I also saw an older Serena, not so quite in shape Serena. And even with that being said, she still almost pulled it out again in the third round. Now, there will be in her mind at some point the possibility that, yeah, if I get into a little bit better shape, I could do this one more game. And I don't doubt that because she's Serena. But that being said, I hope she can find a peace of mind and say, you know what? I'm ready to walk away. I'm done evolving. It's time to move forward. Because Lord knows there's a lot of opportunity for her and her sister who also should definitely walk away. Because and watching that doubles match, whatever you think you have left, Venus, no, baby. If you were playing me or basic tennis person A, you would dominate us even still at 42. But playing your contemporaries at that age with your diminishing skills, no. It's time for you to step into the sunset with your sister. Move on with your life, ladies. Do y'all thing, because opportunities are abound for both of you, and I'm just very proud of what you all have accomplished over the years. I am a fan. I will always be a fan. So just wanted to say that. Also want to do a quick shout out to Dennis Rodman's oldest daughter, Trinity, for becoming the highest paid soccer player in the NWSL. That is the women's soccer league here in the United States. She is the first millionaire player in that league. Any quick thoughts on that, Hugh?
I was surprised, man, because we talked about this a while ago on our broadcast about her and how good she was, and to get that opportunity right now, that's pretty good, man. And that's going to help elevate and probably bring more money revenues into the ladies because they definitely need to get paid. And for her to come in and be the first, that's pretty good, man. But she's going to have to live up to them expectations, man, too, man. It's not just because she Dennis Rodman's daughter, she got to go out there and lay the groundwork now, too. That's one of the reasons probably that went down in a lot of people's heads, like, oh, this is Dennis Rodman's daughter. But no, she got to, pave her way now and get the respect of her other peers.
Right. And that being said, she has done quite well in the league so far. And I definitely see some more endorsements and things to go her way as time goes on as well. Basically, not just because she's Dennis Rodman's daughter, but because she is one of the best players playing in that league. So that being said, we done got all the other stuff out the way for the time being. Needed to do that because we got to talk that thing called football. Y'all see the symbol? It's the symbol for a reason because the primary thing you all like to talk about here on the show is that thing called football. Wish the WNBA would do that. Yeah, I agree in terms of those salaries. Maybe someday soon. But that being said, what's going to happen is we about to go to this commercial break. When we come back, matter of fact, before we come back, we're going to take this guy right here and put him right there in my spot because it's time for his part of the show. That part of the show we call the Guru's Football Session. And there's a lot of football to talk about, people.
Yes, sir.
Get ready, Hugh. It's on you next. When we get
all
back
right.
to Gametime Audible with your host for the rest of the show, that dude, the sports guru, Hugh Lee.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Let's get
It's
it.
another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know Miss EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. You know, I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things actually that people kind of want to shy away from because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, you know, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. You know, it's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Yeah, anyway, that's the name of the show, by the way. Get off my lawn. Check it out Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Let me go handle this. The views and or opinions expressed here on Gametime Audible is that of the host and or guests, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. Yeah, buddy, we back. Gametime Audible once again with me, E-Buck the Nighthawk, and Hugh the Sports Guru. Hey, who told you move? Get back over there where I put you. Go on you now. Don't be trying to. It's the Guru Sports football session. The floor is yours, sir. Let's go.
Man, it was a hell of a weekend on opening football, man. A lot of people pissed me off when they were saying last week was opening football. I said, no, that ain't no ranked teams, so don't even call it. But yeah, man, it was just really interesting this week because you seen some good games, but you seen some bad performances by certain people, and we was talking about that. We seen how dominant Michigan looked. That defense still looks sharp. The offense in a run game looked good, but I wasn't really too happy with McNamara's performance, and it's time to bench him and then put the other guy in now, man, McCarthy, because I don't really feel like he has what it takes.
Okay,
How do you?
here's the deal. Yeah, I wasn't all that happy with the performance. Yeah, I know you saying, damn, y'all greedy. They whooped them by about 50. But that being said, it was not a comfortable 50. It should have been a comfortable 70 even. It wasn't like that game with the factory where, basically after the first half, it was like, okay, let's put the second string, now let's put the third string. That's how the factory do over there. I mean, same with Georgia. They're gonna have a few of those games this year. We're like, okay, let's see what the Water Boy got going. Because that's just how they schedule set up. But that being said, yeah, I was not completely comfortable with what I saw from Mr. McNamara. He definitely seemed like he was in his head a little bit in terms of some of his early game decisions. McCarthy definitely looked more comfortable with the offense. That being said, as one of the talking heads pointed out, I think we get a slightly different look offense next week when McCarthy is the starter because of his ability to run the RPO and scramble out of the pocket more so than McNamara. I think that will lend itself to more of the offense opening up more, particularly in the passing game. Also, you have to look at the fact that Hawaii is way worse than Colorado State. So I'm definitely expecting it to be another blowout. But that being said, I'm really interested to see how long he goes with McCarthy in the second game and how much Cade plays in his backup role. Because I believe you, and I've pretty much been saying from the beginning, it's basically now McNamara's job lost. It's McCarthy's job to lose at this point. And I think the only way he loses it if he makes a lot of bad decisions in terms of being the quarterback next week as the starter. Because keep in mind, he's never had the opportunity to come in and start the football game. So if he shows that he has gained some maturity since last year in regards to his decision making, that's not going to be run when no option is available all the time, then yeah, I think ultimately by game 4 or 5 this year, he will declare McCarthy the starter, and McNamara will finish off the season like a soldier, and then he'll go on and transfer somewhere else.
Yeah, because I definitely was disappointed in McNamara. I'm just hoping that my man's McCarthy come in and execute and play well. Because, like you said, we being greedy because they beat the crap out them boys. But more or less, it was because of the run game and a celery defense, man. Because if the defense and the run game wasn't there, like you said, it wasn't a comfortable 51, man. You know. And we're not even going to talk about the Alabama game because they played Utah State, and that
It
got
was a
to the
nice
point.
scrimmage. It was a nice little scrimmage for him.
Yeah, they got so out of hand. My man, when Bryce Young went out the game, he already had 5 touchdowns and he accounted for a rushing one. So yeah, we're gonna leave
And he
that.
made it look so easy. You'll definitely get a better understanding of what Alabama working with next week when they play Texas.
Yeah, and because I definitely didn't really feel comfortable even talking about that game. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought the Oregon and Georgia game was gonna be a little better. I feel like Georgia is a little more advanced because, like we said last year, the starters some games didn't play because they blew out teams, and then we seen how well the second string guys were, and they didn't miss a beat. But the reason why I think they beat them as bad, and I'm gonna be honest with you, E, let's be honest. If Bo Nix wasn't their quarterback and they had a better quarterback that made better decisions, this game wouldn't have been as bad as it was.
That
That's
being
been,
said, Georgia still would have won by about 3 touchdowns.
yeah.
Yeah, I know you're saying, yeah, Georgia done basically sent half their defense to the NFL. Well, guess what? They didn't retool. Remember, the guy that runs that team, Mr. Kirby Smart, he learned from the best, okay? He learned from the factory manager himself. So, yeah, much like Alabama, they didn't rebuild, they just retooled.
Yeah, because I was just really surprised at how bad the game was. As soon as I seen Bo Nix was over there, because I didn't really know he was there, but I knew how bad Bo Nix was when he was with Auburn, and that's the reason why he ain't in Auburn right now, because his decision making. And I felt like him going over there to Oregon, man, they're not going to win too many games. They're going to get okay, and they're going to win some okay games, but I don't think they're going to be like when they're ranking right now. Hell, they might not even be ranked by the time the end of
Oh,
the
no,
season.
they're not going to nobody's playoff this year. But no, I got to ask you, Hugh,
Yes,
what
sir.
happened? What happened to Iowa yesterday?
Oh, that was a terrible game, man. I watched a little bit of it. About time I started dozing off, I say, no, in hell, I need to be dozing off on college game day. Let me get it off this game. For people who love defense, they'd probably love the game, but it was just I would have a really bad offense right now, man.
Clearly
Got
they did. What the final score like? 5-3?
It was 7-3,
7-3
unfortunately.
on two safeties and a field goal?
It was so crazy too about it, E man. I was looking for that game at first on my phone, but then I thought about it. I said, "Oh yeah, you know me, man. I'm a little bit bougie when it comes to college. They wasn't ranked, so I wasn't even really looking for them. I just so happened to find them and spotted on TV. And yeah, it was like probably one of the worst college games I ever seen. And I was only watching 10 minutes of it and almost dozed off. So I had to get that game off my TV because it wasn't necessary for me to even check that game out. It was a fluke, man. I couldn't even believe I watched.
Because when they was giving the updates, because I was listening on the radio most of the day, and that was so I'm like, okay, it must be some real bad weather going on in Iowa. But when I found out, no, everything was everything. They just was that bad.
It was good.
Now the game that I
That
basically
bad.
saw some of the highlights of that fascinated me was that North Carolina Appalachian State game.
That game's crazy. At first, Appalachian State was up like 21-0, and they was threatening to score. And then North Carolina got a stop. That's what I'm glad you told me. You said you keep an eye on that game and give me a summary. It got to the point where North Carolina scored and they stopped them from scoring when it was 21-7. Man, they went on a run, man, and they end up being up by like a touchdown at the half. By the time they had a 2-score lead, I said, North Carolina's about to take this game over. But about time it hit the third quarter going into the fourth, man, them dudes scored so many points in that fourth quarter. And it was like the defenses were so bad. You only had one good guy, and that was Gray on defense for North Carolina, their middle linebacker. But it was like nobody couldn't stop plays. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. But that was entertaining for me because I think the Andy score was like something crazy, like 61, 63.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every bit of that, man, because it was like so high powered in offense because their running backs always good in North Carolina, man. And we got two of the best over in the NFL with Carter, and I forgot the other guy's last name, but he's with the Jets. They got some good guys over there, man. Their running backs is always, worthy of giving the shot to. And actually, I think they both had 1,000 yards last year. The North Carolina running back.
I would say, from what I saw, highlights, North Carolina a little bit worse than they were last year, but a decent team. Appalachian State a little bit better than they were last year. But
I was surprised because they didn't quit. They should have won that game. It was theirs to lose, and they lost it. Speaking of, I'm glad we mentioned that. Man, I was looking at the game yesterday. We had one of them upsets. We had to have an upset. Me and Pastor Tillman, man, we enjoyed that game. That's where you said you seen the comments from, man. We was talking back and forth. We were so excited looking at that one. Utah, number 7 ranked versus the unranked Florida. And it was good to the very end. I just think that they got too greedy with Utah because they got all the way down there to like the goal line. Except for running it in, they were trying to pass. And he was too trigger happy, man. And the guys got a lot of athletes over there in Florida, man, and you got a lot of dudes from
especially that kid they got playing quarterback. Keep your eye on that dude this season.
Jeffrey said,
keeper pick for the Heisman right now.
He Alabama struggled against them last year, man. Because how good he was, man. He could throw the ball and he can run, and he's a hell of an option quarterback. So yeah, that guy looked the part.
Imagine, if you will, a more functional Cam Newton. That's what he looked like to me.
And yeah, to see them win that game off of a pick too in the end zone, I was really impressed, man, because it was 29-26, and it was just that I don't know what happened with Utah, man. Like I said, I think they got too greedy, but it was a good game nonetheless, and I was definitely thankful that I was actually there to watch that. But the game I want to really talk about and absorb a little bit because it probably left a lot of bad taste in Chigander's mouth. That Notre Dame and Ohio State game. I felt like I still give credit to Notre Dame. They have a pretty decent defense. The offense is like mediocre at best, but I cannot, I can't disrespect or, throw shade on them like that because the play and to put up and do what they did with Ohio State, I was impressed for that long. They held them dudes to, it was like 10-7 at the half. I just felt like they just didn't have enough. And I knew that they was going to get to the point where they was going to probably cave or give up some big plays. And the 2 big plays they gave up was the 2 big plays that cost them. And yeah, I felt like people were saying that they choked and that was their game to lose. But yeah, they messed around and just gave up too many big plays at the end. And, Stroud is one of the MVP candidates right now, or a Heisman candidate. So, yeah, you can't get that guy no room or let him breathe because those mistakes that cost him. Those 2 mistakes they made.
Did you see the Loyola Xavier game? I did not, Ro. Did you, Hugh?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and also she said, just for preseason play, who do you think is going to give us a good football season? I think that's a pro question. We'll get to that in a minute, Ro. I got to say, that was not that good a game. I honestly feel like that probably wasn't a good week 1 matchup to have. That I would probably rather have seen both of those teams play each other after having a game under their belt. because that came off very clunky, particularly in that first half, because you could tell it was a lot of decision making and I'm not quite comfortable with where I'm playing type stuff going on, particularly on that Ohio State side. They got it together in the second half pretty much, but that first half they looked really awful, particularly on defense. Because they lost a few people on defense last year as well to the NFL. And I think that's going to be the key for them winning a national championship. Because if you play like that against the Alabama team or the Georgia team I saw yesterday, y'all not going nowhere.
And that's why I told you, if anything, no disrespect to Ohio State and anybody who Ohio State fans, I felt like if anything, if Georgia wasn't number one, they should have been number two, which I was surprised that they made them as low as they did. And they went out and proved it.
Just that like team, I felt like Michigan should have been ranked a little higher. And I think they at least proved that yesterday because, again, that was not their best effort, and they still threw up 50 burgers. So,
because I wouldn't even been
adjustments between game one and game two. I think you see what really goes on.
Because I wouldn't lose sleep if they took your number one due to the fact they were the defending champs, and that's what should have really happened. But I believe a lot of people got scared from a lot of the guys who left and went to the pros versus the guys Alabama still had who's there. So, yeah, I think that was the case. But, yeah, man, you can't play like that against some of them bigger teams, especially how Georgia whipped on Oregon yesterday. Oregon always was a cute gadget team anyway, man. You could just punch them in the mouth and, I just have a problem with the Pac-12 and some of those teams because I always thought they were soft. I'm going to just be honest with you.
Bottom line, Marcus Mariota or the present Los Angeles Chargers quarterback's not walking through that door in Oregon. You got to be ready to take your lumps now because you're not as good as you once were. And if you're talking about going to the Big Ten, you're going to have several weeks like that.
Yeah, you talking about your boy, Mr. Herbert.
Yes,
I enjoyed the another ranked 19th ranked Arkansas versus Cincinnati. That was a good one too. Cincinnati lost some guys, but they lost my man's Gardner, man, and them losing Gardner kind of hurt them. But I thought Arkansas was going to be a little better, man. But I was surprised how good Cincinnati was with some of the drop off that they had. But yeah, I feel like some of the more higher ranked teams, like the games wasn't as good as I thought they'd be, especially the first week because we've seen
it was a lot of week one. That's my takeaway from it. A lot of those teams look like this was their first game of the season.
And they played like it because when I looked at some of them games, I was like, okay, they just need to get their moxie back together. But I mean, give or take, I appreciated what I seen though.
And I gotta admit, Michigan State, they look pretty good. I kind of like what I saw from them.
Yeah, man, their receivers was jumping all over the place, man. Yeah, they might not have as strong as a running game as they had before with Walker, but damn, they sure enough was throwing that mug. They had an aerial attack.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think all in all, the week two matchups look a lot better, so I think we'll get a lot better play next week.
A lot of the guys will be unmasked, and we'll see more of their identities.
Exactly.
It wasn't really too much going on in the NFL.
Well, hold on. Before you skip on to that, you definitely got to talk about the other big news that happened in college football.
You know what? Damn, I forgot about that, man. I should slap myself for that too, because that was one of my favorite things that happened.
Bring your face right here. I got you.
Man, them going to the 12 teams, man. They should have made E, but hey, I mean, beggars can't be choosers. We've been saying they needed to give more ground when it came to the playoffs. I think a lot of guys are getting pissed off. I don't think Takeo Spikes was happy about it and Ben Watson. I said, what the hell with y'all, man? I'm glad because it's good for the sport for one, and to have the 12-team playoff. What I didn't like, though, they said it might go as 2026, but they said the earliest it could be as 2024. I'm hoping
they locked into the current playoff until the end. I mean, I could wait. I mean, because bottom line, this is something that had to happen. many controversies every year with this 14 because
And
it
guys,
was always that one or two teams that went undefeated or basically had a slightly weaker schedule, and they was on the outs looking in. In an ideal world, we got to be honest. Cincinnati, they played their way into it, so they got in the playoff, but maybe they shouldn't have been there. Okay, let's be honest. That
it
being
was a
said, in a 12-team playoff, you ain't got to worry about Cincinnati no more. They definitely getting in, along with any other team that basically ain't a Power Five but went undefeated or dominated their opponent. Those teams will get in now with no problem.
and some of the one loss teams can get in now, man. If they lost it, like say for instance, we gonna put it this way: if Notre Dame just clean house and don't lose another game after losing that first game, ain't no way in hell they should be in that tournament. And stuff like that, when you
Right?
just
Or basically it's a situation where you was good until you got to the SEC championship game, and Alabama had a bad day and lost. Now they ain't got to worry about it because they still in with the one loss.
yeah, because that's what I think. And I was talking to one of my buddies, Mo, and I said, Muhammad, the reason why I think that I wasn't too happy with a lot of stuff that was going on because he called me and he's a huge football fan and he loved to hear me talk about football. Big ups to Mo. I know you at another Lowe's, but you're still my brother from another. And we talked about that. He said, Hugh, why do you think a lot of people don't watch as much college as they do pros? I said, well, one thing I'm gonna tell you for sure. I said it's because of the fact of politics, man. I said the politics is eating up college sports. We always talked about that, how they just really just butchered the sport, man. Now they're trying to make things right with this playoff. That's definitely gonna help because I got tired of seeing some of my favorite players sitting out of bowl games that didn't want to play and just getting ready for the NFL. Remember when Nick Bosa, what he did? When
Right.
Ohio State lost 2 games and he didn't think they was gonna go nowhere, man. He packed all his shit off campus right then and there. He said, man, I'm gone, man. I'm about to get ready for the pros. And I said, man, you're doing this in the middle of the season. Like, come on, man. They still had like 4 or 5 games left. It wasn't really quite the middle of the season, but damn, when you got that many games left on the schedule and you just pack it up and leave, man, that's just letting down your team, man. And when those guys did that in the bowl games, I understood, because it's like, what's the purpose if I'm not in the championship game and they don't want to get hurt and they don't want to miss out on a big payday? But now you're forced to play in these games. I'm hoping on them guys be healthy. You probably get a bad injury or two because I still feel like if my boy Jamison Williams was 100%, it would have been totally different in that Alabama game. But I can't dwell on the past. Thank God he a Lion now. But we're going to look at this too and say, with the guys that they have now, I think they're going to definitely build towards 16 teams. I hope that be by 2026 that they do that. But for now, we're going to take what we can get. And I think that's a really good step.
I mean,
And
I gotta be honest. I wasn't mad at 12. I really thought they were just gonna do 8. I wasn't really mad at 8, to be honest. I just
yeah,
thought it was a bad
a lot
number.
more than I thought, E. They gave us a hell of a lot more than I
Right.
thought. Did you know how they're going to set it up? You know,
No,
best teams are going to get the bye. I think the first and second team, they're going to get
as they
like,
should. As they
and then
should.
team's going to play, and then they're going to play like the number 1 seed, play the low seed, of course, and the number 2 seed play the higher seed until they
Hmm.
get to, if they can make it to the championship. Which I love that format, E, because those teams, if you're number 1 and 2, you worked hard for that bye. About time they started to do stuff right because it's going to make it more to the point where not only is college kids going to compete, but they're going to be happy to compete now because
Right.
yeah, if you lose 1 game back in the day, E, that's your whole season.
Depending
Now you
on
got
what team you was, absolutely. I mean,
now
this
you
way you still make it competitive because it's still to your advantage to win as many games as you can because more than likely, if you go undefeated, you'll be one of those 2 teams that get it off. And even if you're not, you still be one of the top seeds. So if I remember correctly, that first round, teams will get to host it at home. And a home
yep,
college
you do.
playoff game, man.
Because what's cool about that bye too is the guys like say for instance the 1 and 2 seed is off, the 3 seed gonna be on the home field. And I think, the 4 seed gonna be at home field, so they're gonna get their home field until after the bye. Then everything else is gonna do what it do. So,
Right.
yeah, man, finally got something. And like you
Right,
said,
you still make it where a lot of the major bowls still count in the
yeah,
whole scenario. So yeah, like I said, I felt it was an idea long overdue. I'm glad they do it, and in the end, you know why they worked that out. Because in the end, what is that going to bring?
more money, a whole lot more money.
Right,
And I was glad that they did that too, E, because it was like, man, to see people not playing the Tuskegee Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowls, the bowls that we grew up with as kids, man, the bowls that we respected and was looking forward to watching. Now those games is going to be more significant, and it's going to be more of an impact on, who plays or how well you play in the season. But the thing is, too, you don't have to lose your breath. You don't have to pout and moan and be all hurt and upset
right.
about losing the game
And
now.
another good thing is if you're one of those not so great teams, you still get the opportunity to play some of the big boys and go to that game and make that extra money that they make for being the punching bag of the week. And that works for all parts of the sport. And then of course I'm still curious to see how the whole transfer portal will play into how that goes because I do believe at this point, you just based on what I've seen thus far, transfer portal here to stay.
Ain't nothing gonna happen with that transfer portal, man, because one of the guys that I seen yesterday too on funny when I seen that game with Alabama, I was like, hey man, he was on our team last year. He went to the Utah State. They got smashed, but he went over there and he was able to go over there and he able to get the exposure that they needed or he needed. And I feel like that's cool, man. People are going to some of the smaller schools to get that exposure because for the most part in the bigger schools, if you already have somebody ahead of you on the list, you might not be able to play. So to go to a smaller school and get them that stature, that's pretty good to even go over there and get that opportunity. So because we've
Right.
seen so many.
And I must admit, another thing that's going to affect college football, at least for the next year or two, is the fact that people receive that extra COVID year. And a lot of them, especially since now we got the NIL, so that you probably making money while you at college. That I think we'll start to see a lot of those fifth and sixth and even 7 year seniors be a factor in some of these games, particularly when it comes to the position play.
I'm absolutely happy to see just a lot of the things that's going on, man. It seems like college is finally going in the right direction because we've seen a lot of those kids get used and abused for so many years, from football to basketball to all the sports where they used them in their names and they wasn't being able to profit off of it.
Right, and keep
And
in mind the NCAA still making over on the deal because with the TV licensing and all that, these schools, particularly the major schools, they making big money, and the kids not gonna see none of that. All that's going to the school. They might get a couple extra pair of shoes out the deal, but that's not money unless, of course, you got those type of boosters at certain schools that's gonna kick in to help make sure your star quarterback stays where he is.
we know regardless, they wasn't really to the point where they wasn't making money, but now they get to do it in a legal sense to where they won't get fined and it could cost them anything.
Right. You already know. We've talked about that on the show several times. There was always those backdoor deals and golden handshakes and program incentives and such.
Because what was funny to me too is to see I don't know if you've seen that new Fansville commercial when Brian Bosworth took a jab at my boy Bryce Young because Bryce Young was in that new Fansville commercial and he was like, "Dang, how many NIL deals did this kid have?" Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of funny because I didn't know it was people were comfortable or you could even say stuff like that. But yeah, the Fanville commercials are hilarious.
Right.
I want to briefly touch into the pros too, E. Big ups to Russell Wilson because I think I was just waking up, man, about to put that in. E already had that on my phone, man. Russell Wilson got a new contract extension, 5 years, 245 million contract, and 65 million guaranteed. So not only did they bring him over there, but now they like, hey, this is our franchise quarterback, and we sticking with him, and we're gonna try to build a winning franchise over here in Denver. How did you feel about that deal?
Well, I've always said that Tom Brady, the GOAT, is truly the luckiest man in all of football. Well, I gotta say, Russell was right behind him. Okay, you done signed two big deals between that deal you signed with Seattle and now this deal with Denver. Your wife is full. Sierra, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, you are living your best life, Russell. I ain't mad at you. And then, of course, you go ahead and get you another ring on top of all that. We'll be waiting for you at Canton. We'll
And
jack it.
he been getting a lot of tutelage from the old man too, man. Peyton been in his ear trying to help him out and kind of get him worked in and teaching him the ins and outs of Denver. So that's actually good to have. You can never go wrong with Peyton being in your ear.
Right, and keep in mind, Seattle, he was a bit of a legend, but they say he is a superstar in Denver. Him and Sierra. Basically, my guess is if he win a Super Bowl or two, he could run for governor after that.
Tell me about it, man. Did you hear the news? And I know you don't really like talking about this, man, but I'm not even trying to bring race in this time, man. I'm just surprised that he wasn't a brother in this tabloids right now with Matt Araiza, known as the punt guy, who was from San Diego State University, man. He got a deal and he beat out the old punter for the Buffalo Bills. Wasn't even a week later, that's when that crazy allegation came up about him. Him and his boys went to a party, and they had, not only did they go to a party though, but then I hate saying stuff like this on air, man. They gang raped a 17-year-old girl. So he went from being the guy to now, man, that dude don't have a job. Nobody gonna be trying to touch that dude or be like, yeah, we want him on our team after that. He might have got blackballed from the NFL, man. What are your thoughts on that?
All right, let's see. We about to play the race cards again. All right. I'll go with this one here. All right. Look. Bottom line is when you do something that egregious, that just downright dirty, you gotta face consequences. Remember, the NFL still trying to get up under the whole Deshaun Watson situation. They want that to come up as little as possible these next 11 weeks because it's gonna be bad enough managing that when he do come back. And keep in mind, if you are the NFL, you want Deshaun Watson to come back healthy and well. Because if he comes back and he is not good, that's going to be a really bad thing. But that being said, yeah, anybody that got any type of sketchy stuff going on and they personal and they ain't even established as an NFL player yet, yeah, the Captain Hook is coming real quick. It don't matter what color you is because the NFL, even though it is making money hand over foot, it's going to continue to have a PR nightmare if some of these players start to do this type of stuff on a consistent basis and not enough is done in terms of the punishment. So, yeah, that being said, good luck, Mr. Ariza, in the USFL.
You know what was crazy about that, too? Not only did that happen, but it was like, what's going on right now with, my man's, Deshaun Watson. And when that came out, because I think they were pissed off at the fact that he ended up being on the NFL team. And that's when everything came out about the allegations. So, yeah, they wasn't really too ecstatic about him winning that job in the first place. But then on top of that, all the egregious stuff that happened, it was just really bad for the sport, man. And I just really feel like that was sad, unfortunately, because he is a hell of a punter. He in preseason kicked a 80-yarder, So that shows how talented he is on the leg strength. But regardless, man, that's not going to get you nowhere, especially if you're out there doing wrong. It's going to catch up with you. So, unfortunately, man, Razor, man, wish you well, but I don't think you're going to have a career in the NFL.
Nope, not at all.
We're going to talk about some NFL picks now, man. I know you want to definitely get into that. And I highlighted some of the games that I felt like that'll be worth checking out, man. The first game is the Thursday night NFL game, which Amazon just took over, man. They ain't even going to be on regular TV no more. But the Bills versus the defending champs, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, check this, before you even say anything. Hell, we thought this was going to be the Super Bowl last year. So I was kind of surprised that didn't happen last year. But, yeah, to see them come and start the season off, man, how do you think that's going to pan out?
Well, keep in mind, for those of y'all that's going to miss some of those Amazon games, remember, you have the option to get that NFL Plus, where they will be showing all the games from all the different networks. So if you are a person and you got to see them all, definitely go with that. That being said, yeah, that's definitely gonna be a good matchup. A key to that is apparently Matthew Stafford is dealing with this nagging injury. It's kind of like the situation with Miguel, where there's certain injuries that he has, and they just not gonna go away. They just have to do the best to manage them. That being said, Miguel did get put on the disabled list today. I think he's done for the season myself. He should be because you need to start looking at some of these youngsters in Toledo.
Yeah,
But
I was
that being
blessed.
said, back to the football, you definitely going to keep an eye on that with Matthew throughout the season. Would not be surprised if he ends up missing a game or two, particularly if it's a situation where they are solidly in the playoffs. I can see them resting him a game or two near the end. But that being said, yeah, I definitely am looking to see Buffalo do their thing with the Rams because the Rams should not be as good as they were last year, and the Bills should be a little bit more improved. So I'm definitely seeing the Bills pulling that one off in week one.
I actually had the Bills by 10 in that one because of the fact they bulked up. They already had a hell of an offense. And what their problem was, they didn't feel like when they played Kansas City that the defense was going to hold. And them just doing, they didn't really have to do much, man. Them going out there and getting Von Miller, man, was an X factor because that was one of the issues to me with the Buffalo Bills is because of the fact they didn't have no really strong pass rush. They talked about the strengths and weaknesses of every team in the playoffs, and that was the only weakness they felt like that the Bills had is they didn't have that pass rush. And by them
Now
not
that
having,
being said, you got to keep in mind, Hugh. Yeah, they do have a man that's a future Hall of Famer, but they have an older version of that man. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, but it definitely does improve them from a defensive standpoint.
but you know what, too, E? This year is a make or break year for Ed Oliver, man. Ed Oliver, man, I don't know if you remember E in the draft, they were comparing him to Aaron Donald. They were saying Ed
I do
Oliver
recall that.
and Donald 2.0. I said, damn, don't put that type of pressure on this guy when he coming in the league. Like he was a dominant force in college, and he's still trying to find his way in the NFL. So hopefully, with Von Miller being over there, that could help open up a little bit more for him. But like you said, yeah, they're going to look good on offense, and they're going to have still some strong defense over there. But Buffalo Bills have just as much firepower, man. And if Matthew Stafford ain't healthy and he kind of shaky, man, Josh, man, definitely looking at Josh Allen this year as an MVP candidate.
Right. And speaking of possible MVP candidates, uh, do we think we get a repeat this year of what Cooper Cup did last year?
I think Cooper Cup gonna do well, but he not gonna do as well because now more people. He was in the spotlight, and more people gonna want to, have cornerback on him, and if they think that the cornerback is not good enough, they're gonna have help over the top now. So yeah, I
Well, keep
definitely
in mind, once upon a time, Matthew Stafford had another Hall of Fame type wide receiver. His name was Calvin Johnson. We all knew when Matthew got in trouble who he was going to. That
yep.
didn't stop him. That didn't stop him. But that being said, Cooper Cup, great receiver. He is not quite Calvin Johnson, but I still say he has a very good season this year. He definitely should be in the top five in receptions and touchdowns yet again.
But I don't think he's gonna have as strong of a year as he did last year. You're absolutely
And
right.
that was a Hall of Fame type year. I don't think he could repeat that.
Yeah,
Very few
it's gonna
people
be a
ever
slight
hit
drop.
those
Not a lot, but it's gonna be a slight drop off. All right, Eon, the second game, man. Man, this is a rivalry game. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Bengals. What's your thought on that game?
I don't think that game gonna be as good as you think. One, remember we got Joe Burrow coming off the appendectomy surgery, so I think that first week or two he's gonna be a little shaky. So there's that to look at. Remember, I guess Trubisky won the job for the time being in Pittsburgh. I think that's just a question of when. I think he is on borrowed time. I give him maybe 4 or 5 games before they go on ahead and pull the trigger and put in Mr. Pickett to take on the job that they really want him to have. Remember, he played at Pittsburgh, from Pittsburgh. The minute Trubisky starts to mess up, the chants will be real loud. We want Pickett. And you might start to hear some of them in that first game. So all that being said, I think that's going to be kind of a low scoring affair. I say the person who gets to 21 probably wins that game. But yeah, that's going to be one of them week one games where you're going to be like, not so much.
What I'm glad you mentioned was Kenny Pickett, man. I felt like he didn't lose that job, man. I just felt like they looked at it like this. Mike Tomlin's more of an old school cat. He wasn't going to throw Kenny Pickett in the fire. He had a hell of a preseason. And I looked and I said, even against the starters. And I was like, well, okay, they're just doing this to save him. They don't want him to be exposed and put him in that situation too soon. And that's the reason why I think he ended up getting that job. But I still feel like it's going to be a blowout game, and I'm going to go with Cincy on that one.
Yeah, I definitely say Cincy wins, but I don't think it's going to be quite the blowout.
Okay, we're going to go with the Packers and Vikings. This is always a pretty decent game right here because the Vikings always seem like they have a pretty strong defense. And if Kirk Cousins, if he can play within himself, he usually can win you some big games. That being said, I'm more or less interested what the Packers going to do without their big weapon. Well, your boy Aaron Rodgers' big weapon, Devontae Adams, man. I'm pretty interested in seeing what's going to happen with them and how they click in this regular season game against a hungry Vikings team. That still being said, I still feel like Kirk Cousins will dig himself a hole that he can't get out of because I still feel like he's on one of them bench quarterbacks, and I feel like that he'll make a mistake. He'll definitely try to do too much and get ahead of himself, and that's going to be their doom. I feel like it'll be a closer game than people will think. I'm going to call that one 28-24, but I'm going to give it to Green Bay.
See, here's the thing. Minnesota, one of them teams, and it's going to be a few of them this year, that you don't know if you should bet on them or not. I say teams like Minnesota, like the Raiders, like Philadelphia. Them hard teams for me to figure out right now because they got a lot of good ingredients to be a playoff contender, but then they'll have those weeks where it'll be like, what are you doing? And Minnesota been that team ever since Kirk Cousins took over at quarterback. They have games where they'll play the Packers and go blow for blow. They go down to the wire. Then they'll have those games where they play the Lions, and it's like, you can't even do nothing with the Lions. So that being said, my gut says go with the Packers, but I wouldn't be surprised if somehow the Vikings win this game.
Yeah, I had a surprise game. I see the surprise on this list, and I didn't even look for it at first. But then when I looked at it, I said, man, this is going to be an interesting game. More bad than I think good. No disrespect, because I know Rondale played good last year for the Cardinals, but you're not going to have D-Hop, man. And you need a D-Hop type of personnel over there, man. And then I think that clown Hollywood Brown is out, too, for what happened. You know, he got caught up in what he did earlier in the summer. But the Cardinals and the Chiefs, man, that's going to be a pretty interesting game to me.
That's Chiefs all day.
I think the Chiefs.
I definitely expect that we are not going to get the quality of play that you think we should get from that young man who now has gotten his money. I think this is one of those situations where I got my money now. I'm not going to take these business decisions and try to scramble out the pocket and get 40 yards with my legs and all of that. I got to conserve myself. So I had time to spend this money and play these videos. Study my playbook and whatnot. That being said, the Chiefs are going to be better, I think, than people give them credit for. I understand that they are missing that big weapon on his cheetah, but I think this is the year we really see just how good Patrick Mahomes really is. That being
I,
said, I'm not picking them to win that division, but I definitely can see them still being playoff contenders.
I agree. I feel like Juju gonna give him a decent amount too, man. Because I feel like in Pittsburgh, I don't feel like at the end of Big Ben's career he had enough in him to really take Juju to the next level. I know that Patrick Mahomes do. And it's iffy too to me about the Dolphins. Everybody still got the radar on my man's Tua Tagovailoa because we don't know what he's really about yet. I think he played okay last year, but now he got even more weapons with the Cheetah. Now he got my man's Waddle, and he got a pretty good team around him, offense and defense. And you know the lights on him and what he's going to do. And it might be a good thing he got a cheetah, might be a bad thing. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing who's going to happen over there in Miami. But I got the Chiefs taking that game because even with D Hop, I still feel like Kyler Murray be shaky. And, you know, it was suspect for them at first to put that in his contract that he had to study more. Because if he ain't studying his craft and that's something that you doing and you're a professional and it's supposed to be what you love to do, damn, E, how many people do what they love to do, man? Hey,
I don't care how fast Kyler Murray is. I don't think there's any way he got to the point he got to without having studied some of the playbook, be able to read some type of defense. He may not be as good at it or proficient at it as you would like. Keep in mind that air raid offense set up by the coach over there. It's a lot of complications in that. So part of the concern was that he didn't know all the little nuances like he felt he should. But all that being said, this is a big year for that coach because if they don't make the playoffs, I definitely see him on the chopping block.
yeah, I definitely don't see him staying if they lose this year, man. Because we definitely looked at them last year as the epitome of of both divisions. They were what was their record at one point? Was they like 9-0 or
They
something
were like
crazy?
10-0, I believe, at one point last
Yeah,
year.
10-0, and then they lost that one game. I forgot who they lost to. I think it was like the 49ers or somebody. But when they lost that game, and then that's when D Hop started getting injuries, and it was like different things happening here and there, and that kind of hurt them, man. I think from Buda Baker aspect too, he gonna keep them in that game. A lot of people don't give respect to Buda Baker and what he do, but I still feel like with Patrick Mahomes, and then you still have his main weapon over there, Travis Kelsey, man, that's gonna make an impact. And like I said, man, watch out for Juju, man. If anybody got Juju in fantasy this year, I really think he's gonna excel because he finally got a person who got no disrespect to Ben, but a hell of an arm that can give it to him.
Absolutely. And don't forget about Herbert either. He's good for some big plays, I think. But
Yeah,
I'm surprised you have not got to. I think that's going to be the most interesting matchup of week one. That's
what's
going
happening?
to be the game between the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, you know what? You beat me to that one. I was about to say that one and didn't get my last game. But yeah, that's really gonna be a good one, man. Because I was really surprised to hear Baker say what he said, man. I'm thinking like, damn, but he had no filter. And when they said,
Baker
okay,
said
Baker,
he didn't say that. He said he didn't say that.
he definitely did choke back on the words. But when they asked him, hey, man, you got that starting
You,
job, now what you expect? He said, I expect to beat their ass.
you,
Nothing else to it.
you. You know good and damn well he said that. He
Yeah, he
said
did.
that being said, Carolina losing that game, y'all.
Not only are they gonna lose, they're
Baker
gonna
gonna try his damnedest. Don't get me wrong. I expect Baker to have a good game, but I expect Cleveland to have a better game because they
yeah.
got to prove to him.
But Clowney ain't gonna have it.
Miles Garrett ain't gonna be happy.
Talk about Miles Garrett because he already had an issue with that man. So yeah, they gonna
They say that wasn't the best of teammates to begin with, so that's just fuel for fire. Definitely, there will be some type of extra sack dance if he gets to Baker here in week one.
I have that game being not really like a blowout, but I had them winning that by 10 because I feel still like regardless, Baker gonna put up a really good effort, but it's not gonna be enough,
Yeah, I
because it's
mean,
gonna
I'm just mad that the Panthers went through that whole charade. You know, you didn't bring Baker Mayfield over there to have him be the doggone backup. Come on now. You knew
and the
you were gonna
messed
make
up.
that dude to start.
Soon as Sam Arnold lost his job, man, he got injured. So it was like, regardless of the fact he wasn't gonna get it, even if he did win the starting job, it was just unfortunate. Which he's been having a lot of injury issues too as of late. So yeah, that might be his career out of Carolina because PJ Walker actually a pretty good backup if he don't get a ball to another team.
He's better than anything we work with over here in Detroit. I mean, granted, I'm glad they made the good sense move to get rid of both Blau and Boyle because they both suck. Sutfield is a better quarterback than them, but not a good enough quarterback to, if anything happens to Jared Goff, I'm comfortable with us winning anything.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That
The
being
game.
said, considering some of these quarterback scenarios that I'm looking at in the NFL, why Colin Kaepernick still ain't got no job?
Man, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, I'd be surprised if he did. They gave him trials and everything to make it look good, and to say, but we trying to get this man work. But then people was trying to bash that workout too, because what's my man Warren Sapp said that he was at the tryout when Colin Kaepernick was there, and he said that it wasn't that great.
Well, I guess it all depends on who you talk to that day.
Yeah, because I heard
that day he thought he had a very good workout. So,
and as you're gonna have your people, you're gonna have different strokes for different folks. But then I think, like you said, the people in a higher level, like the owners, man, they stuck in their ways, and they're the older guys, and they're 50, like 60s, 70s, and they still got that type of good old boy attitude.
Said, if Mark's daddy Al was alive, he would have put Colin on.
Yeah, I didn't get a about what people thought because he felt like he was going to do what's best for his team no matter what. And that's why I liked about Al because Al basically went with how he felt and he went with his gut no matter if you liked it or not. A lot of times it panned out, a lot of times it might not have, but he went with what he felt that was right and he stuck with his gut.
Yeah. Pride said it's a done deal for Cap. At least he finally got a fair chance. He just had a baby, so Smurfy. Well,
yeah, just talking about.
Feel like if we don't see him at some point this year, it's a wrap. I mean, at that point, we looking at somebody 35, ain't played in 7 years. Hell, but my whole thing is Tim Tebow got a shot.
Oh man,
he wasn't even playing.
Because I think he went.
I'm just saying.
He had several chances too, man, because he didn't do well with the Patriots. Then when he came back with the Jaguars, man, that experience didn't work, putting him at the tight end. That was pretty bad. Man, I want to talk about the last topic, man, before we get out of here, man. The Raiders versus the Chargers, the rematch that we all want to see, man. Now,
it's that's going to be a good game.
They both got more pieces over there, too, man. Getting Chandler Jones and getting Devontae Adams was a hell of an addition over there with the Raiders. But the Chargers end up getting Khalil Mack, and they got J.C. Jackson, who's like possibly one of the top 3 cornerbacks. I thought he was one of the top 2 cornerbacks, over in the NFL, man, because we already know how the South is in the AFC and how stacked they got. But that's going to be a hell of a game. That being said, man.
Last year, that was one of my top 5 games all season last year. That last game between the Chargers and the Raiders. I think this is going to be another great matchup, even though it is week 1. I'm definitely looking for that to possibly either be a shootout or it could be a defensive struggle. I can see it being 10-7. I can see it being 34-31. Either way, it's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah, man, I'm a coward for this one. I'm going to break even on this one because I'm not quite sure. Because with Devontae Adams going over there, man, that's going to make hella TV. But then, you got Chandler Jones over there as well. But then you look at it on their side with Chargers with J.C. Jackson, and then you got Khalil Mack with Joey Bosa now. But they
Right.
always had good receivers. A lot of people don't give Keenan Allen his respect, man. And they give Mike Williams his respect, but they just don't give it to Keenan Allen, man. And I think they got enough star power over there too, man, and just enough offense with Eckler, and it's gonna be a good one, man. But that one, I'm not even gonna say. If I had to go with someone though, I'm thinking here gonna be just a little bit better, and I would say it's gonna be a close game, like you said, like more like a 35-31 type game, and it'll be like a last minute heroics from Justin Herbert. But with that one, I'm still like, if I had to bet on it, I would probably either or team. So yeah, I'm
Yeah, like
breaking.
I said, if you twisted my arm, I think I go with the Chargers too, simply because their offense has been together longer. You still got. I mean, even though yeah, granted they went to college together and everything, you still got to get the rapport going with that Raider offense in terms of
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I would give a slight edge to the Chargers on that.
And the Raiders do a lot of Raider things. One of the issues too, and I have to think about it, why I will give that edge to the Chargers, and I'm gonna stick with that and stick with my guns, is because no disrespect, man, but I just feel like the actual organization as a whole, when they had John Gruden over there, a lot of people had question marks on a lot of his draft picks. But at the same time, if you had Alex, you know, um,
Mr. Leatherwood,
Wood from Alabama over there, picked him that high, which I thought he was going to be a second, third round pick. And you got him in the first round, 17th pick, and then you cut him after a year. I'm like, man, because people were saying too, Hugh, how do you think Josh McDaniel's going to do over there? Because they were saying, and people made fun of that, like, man, he wasn't even there a year, man. He was the first round pick and he got released. I said, Josh McDaniel's had problems in the past, Well, they're really going to have problems because that offensive line is not really that great, for one. And he made bad decisions before when he got rid of Jay Cutler, and he went with Kyle Orton and then drafted Tim Tebow. That put his ass right out of a coaching job. So let's hope that he can do a better job this time around. And I'm really gunning for him because I'm a huge Josh McDaniel fan. But damn, man, you exposed your line. So hopefully they can hold up, or I guess they feel like they're comfortable with what they have. But yeah, that's the reason why I remember picking the Chargers before I actually made these decisions.
yep, understood. And of course, as you guys know, we'll be back Wednesday with our regular time scheduled thing. And of course, at that point, we'll be right there at the cusp of the NFL season. So that being said, Wednesday we will give you our conference and Super Bowl picks as part of the show. We will also probably preview week 2 of college football a little bit further, and whatever else happens between now and Wednesday. So that being said, we are about to get up out of here. Shout out to the Guru on an excellent football session this evening. Good job there, Hugh.
Thank you.
So, yep. Thank you all for your comments and all that, for checking in. We appreciate you, Roll, Brad, Stacy. I saw Mike Clark in the building. I saw Stan in the house. Of course, Coach checked in for a sec. Shout out to all of y'all as well. Shout out to my guy that I met today. Hopefully you checked out the show and you liked it. Let me know in the comments, all right? Appreciate you. So that being said, we about to get up out of here. This has been Game Time Audible. I am your boy E-Buck the Nighthawk, and that of course is Hugh, the sports guru. Before we go though, you gotta do your thing, Hugh. Tell them.
Man, appreciate all the love y'all been giving me, man. I got more followers, and I just noticed that too. Pure to the Game, a lot of people been chiming in, and they've been giving me comments. It went from like 179 to now I think it's like 186. Man, I always try to put the best news and put the best available things that's going on in the sports world out there for your interest, and I just pray that I can get more followers, man. Like I was talking about earlier, man. This is what me and E love to do, man. I definitely liked it if we could do this on the regular and wouldn't have to worry about no jobs. But hey, man, we got to pay our bills. But some people are more fortunate than others. But just thank you guys for all the blessings and tuning in to Game Time Audible and, getting your sports fix when we're not on the air, looking at the purity of the game.
Absolutely. Like I said, he's on it, man. He's been taking a little time away from his situation. So that's giving him even more opportunity to catch up with all the good sports news. And, I try to help him out where I can. Something that he may not have saw that I saw, I throw him like, hey, you stayed on there, And we definitely, for those of you checking out the Spirit of the Game, make sure you comment on some of the stuff. We appreciate you subscribing that you like it, but we actually want some feedback in terms of some of the stories that he's posted. So, every now and then, let him know, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I don't like that, or whatever the case may be. So he appreciates those comments as well.
Because like I said, man, a lot of times y'all can be on the game too, or y'all be definitely ahead of everybody. Because a lot of the stuff that I do talk about or we do post is stuff that I put out there on the page, and then we'll just basically critique and give our comments, once Wednesday come around.
Yep, and shout out to those got the pay-per-view tonight, checking out that Ortiz-Ruiz fight. That should be a decent scrap. I learned from the pre-fights that Deontay Wilder has indeed come out of retirement and is going to fight October 15th, and a possible precursor to him getting back in the whole championship scenario. So shout out to Deontay for going ahead and do that. Hopefully he is training on his boxing skills and not so much his punching skills. Pride is saying, my favorite matchup this weekend was Sheamus versus Gunter. No, we didn't get that wrestling talk in. We'll check that Castle thing out. We'll throw a little bit in there for you Wednesday, Pride. I still got to catch up with that, but I heard it was pretty decent. But yep, that being said, you already know what time it is. Go ahead, put the fingers on up to the camera right there. Right there. And yep, y'all, we out.
Take it easy.
Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk network.